Of the Board of Trustees for Mississinewa Community School for Monday, November 19th. At this time, I'd like to ask Board Member Susan Miller to lead us in a prayer and pledge. Please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this night, and thank you for everyone that's here. As we enter this season of Thanksgiving, we just thank you for all that you provide for us. And we pray that as we move forward, our students and staff and administrators all have a very happy Thanksgiving. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Line item 248, minutes of previous meeting.
Mr. President,
Mr. Cunningham.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, including the executive session certification.
I have a motion by Mr. Cunningham. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Crouch. Any comments or discussion regarding previous minutes? All right, not hearing any. All those in favor signify by aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 249, high school marquee presentation. Mr. Quadri.
I do hope to keep you on the edge of your seats with this presentation. I was able to pare it down to 7 slides, so if you'll turn your attention to the TV. Again, I just, really what I did is I took the quotes and kind of put it in a just this format that we can look at. First of all, here's the history of our current sign. It's one of those things that I appreciate it. I was the one that started, programming it and putting the information out there. And then as time went on, it kind of just, you were very limited on what you could put on it. And then it just didn't work, so we had to shut it off. And boy, you didn't know how many people were looking at that thing. There's a lot of things going on in our corporation, and the sign seemed to be one of the hot button items. So I think it's important. It was installed in the summer of 2008, so we're at over 10 years now. The Robson Corporation, which is a Florida-based company, and I only say that because it was very inconvenient to work with. Great people, and they did a very nice job. It was just when something went down, because it's all custom made, they had to fix it. They fixed it in their shop, made the parts in their shop, and then literally drove a van to Gas City to repair the sign. So it just wasn't very efficient. It is a PC-based software, which really anything we ask now when we do something, we want it to be Mac compatible. We're an Apple school. We want to be able to use our Apple products. And the current current software for this sign is, I believe, Windows 95 or maybe Windows XP. If you know anything about computer software, that's early 2000s, late 1990s.
If you have to use the word Windows,
yeah,
that tells you something.
It's just.
I just want to add this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Steve,
Sorry.
but I just want to, and I'm not telling, at least some of the board members have been on here for a long time, anything you don't know. There were problems with this sign from the start. It never gave an accurate temperature. But there were problems with it from the start, and I just want to use that opportunity to caution you against looking solely at prices for things. Logistics matter, and the logistics of this purchase were not good from the start, and that's because we overemphasized price over service and logistics as far as locality of the people that are providing the service. When we purchased the track and the new athletic field, location to us as far as proximity and providing us service was one of the key questions we ask. And we ask of other districts that were using the same company, what kind of service did you get? And this was never a good situation. Sorry, Steve.
It's all right. This is a red, they call it amber, color display with limited message capabilities. So I'm bringing you tonight a recommendation. It's a quote from Advanced Signs and Graphics. This is a Muncie-based Corporation. They're wanting to put in a watch fire sign, which will be a 3.5 by 7 foot sign, 16 millimeter high brightness color message center. The thing that really, and it's a cool sign, it looks good, but I can change that sign from here on my phone. I don't have to be at what is now Andy's desk with a receiver and an antenna. It is all web-based. It's obviously Mac compatible. This is a Muncie-based installation company that will offer a 5-year sign and 1-year label warranty. And I've got there's a again, you can see the video board there. That's an example. Here's a couple more examples of watch fire signs. I noticed today, picking the boys up after school, that the Gas City Moose is a watch fire sign. So a very similar product that I'm guessing as far as the price point, we'd be in the similar, same price range. These are both 16 millimeter signs, so you can see the one on the left. You can't see it really well, but you know, there's a video streaming there, and the one on the right, the one on the left has some pretty vibrant colors. So I think it'd be something that would really work well with what we want. And you can see the price there is just over $29.4, and that is an installed price, and I include that because our next 2 quotes are not installed. They are delivered but not installed. So that's why it's our recommendation. The ability for us to make a change. You know, we win Grant 4. How powerful would it be for that team to pull in the parking lot and see congratulations Grant 4 champs on the board? And again, those are the little things, but those make a difference when it comes to these things as far as public relations with your school and your school system. The next quote we received was a quote. We had received 2 quotes from Nevco. This is a 3 by 8 foot sign, 20 millimeter full LED color. This does include delivery but not installation. So we would have to hire another company to come in and install the sign. This is a PC-based program, not Mac compatible. We still get the 5-year warranty. This is a Greenville, Illinois-based company. And for that sign, very comparable in the sign that we're recommending. And as far as this sign is the price, the difference is that our price includes, that recommended price includes installation. And it's Mac-based, it's web-based, we can change it on the fly, and it is a local, Muncie-based company. Here's quote number 2 from Nevco. This is also a 3 by 8 sign. This is a 16 millimeter red display, only display, very similar to what we had in the past. I just think that we're beyond this, in my opinion. This is less than the quality that is at the middle school right now. And I don't think, I feel like this option would be taking us back. Again, PC-based, the company's out of Greenville, Illinois, and that price point's down just over $22,000. And then the last quote that we received was from Ace Sign Systems. This is also a Muncie-based corporation. This is an full color LED, very similar to what we're looking for. The thing that he included, and he would probably maybe quote it differently, but he wants to demolish our current sign and put up a new foundation and just put up a new post, and the sign would be on the post. I really like our current sign. It's not an awesome shape, but it's in shape that we can continue to use it. It looks nice. I like the way it looks. But the quote for that sign there was just under $28,000. So our recommendation is to go with the sign from Advanced Signs and Graphics from Muncie. It was the most expensive, as far as the bottom line, but I also feel like we're getting the most bang for our buck when it comes to our needs and the needs of our community. So if you have any questions, those are my slides.
So Advance is just going to do the actual sign?
Correct. They will pull the old sign out. They'll pull he called the cabinet. They'll pull the cabinet out. He'll create a new cabinet. He'll install it in the current sign, and then he'll put the Watchfire sign inside that cabinet that he custom makes for our sign system.
Mr. Q gave this presentation to us before you saw it, so I just wanted to make sure you knew that we did preview this with him and talk to him about
How big
this
is the one
recommendation.
now?
It's about 4 by 8, 3.5 by 8.
That seems kind of small, but I guess that's
Yeah, I mean, but that's what it is. He measured it and he would, again, put a custom cabinet in there and,
Oh, with the full color, it'll be a lot
Right.
more visible.
And on the, Steve, you mentioned video.
Mhm.
Is there a length of time or a resolution on that, a loss of resolution on that video that'll be on the display? So, you know, you have a resolution that you have on your Mac, and
right.
then you show it.
The
you lose
difference
picture
is that,
quality?
yeah, you're gonna get, because it's LED, you're gonna get that good quality. It's not gonna be as clear as like a TV, because
Okay.
those LEDs, the millimeter is how far they're spaced apart.
So do you know what the resolution is then?
It's a 16 millimeter. I don't know what
Okay,
that resolution exactly
Okay.
would be. I think it might be in that spec sheet, but I don't know that.
So it'll be ultra bright, and even in the daytime, is what you're saying, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it's similar to like Lance's got one too, or?
No, Lance's is not a Watchfire sign.
No.
It's
What
not
about the one
gonna be
over on
like that.
18, they're coming in 18 from Marion from there.
Star's got that new one out there, I don't know what that is. but-
I don't know either. I just noticed today the
Pretty
Gessie
high.
Moose. Again, it's funny when you do stuff like this,
Right.
you start looking at, I never
What
thought that
people
I'd,
have, yeah.
try to see if I can see the emblem on the Moose's sign, but
Yeah.
it is a Watchfire and it's a nice sign.
So do you know, I mean, so people that we have that drive by, I mean,
I got a, you want me, I got a list.
so the,
You got a watch list.
The first thing you go
so,
from
well, the watch list is gonna be next, can they see it? I guess that's the,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
thing, you know, cause I've had them before say, the event shows so quick that, you know,
Right,
by the
right,
time
and
I
I
get up
feel
on
like-
it, it's gone.
And that's one of the
you know.
things that, and I had
So
Andy,
you
because
can
Andy's been
adjust that.
programming the sign, and that's just kind of one of those things that other duties as a sign as assistant principal that he did. But you can, the technology has advanced with this sign company, that you can program that a lot more efficiently. With our sign, with the old sign, and again, that's the only thing I have to compare to, you just set it, and it all was kind of, it was
Right.
defaulted. Where this, we'll be able to, we'll be able to determine how long we want, this to be posted, as far as the time, how do we want it to fly in or scroll across, and, so
I
I
like
think we
that.
have more options.
I like our current base and things like that we
so
have,
do
it
I.
just looks like it needs to have a good power wash
Yep,
done to it
yep.
or something,
Mhm.
and then, it'd be fine.
Yep, I agree.
Thanks for your work on it.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment, and I
Uh-huh.
think I know the answer based on something you said earlier, Mr. Quater. So if once this is installed and it's up on your phone and your computer system, if we canceled school one night,
Mhm.
you could, once you had received that communication, you could immediately
Sure.
set that sign to reflect that communication,
That's
correct?
school.
Okay.
Danny, you're the sign guy.
Yeah.
You think it's good?
Well, definitely Watchfire's they're American made, they're made in Illinois. I was a dealer for them, so it's a very good sign. I would definitely go with them. And I know Advanced in Muncie too, it's a good company, very reputable.
And both times, and this is one thing that I appreciate, is the owner came to meet with me. They didn't just send some salesman or some technician, not that they don't know, but I just felt like he was invested in us. Both times he made the trip up from Muncie. I just think that customer service to me is important.
We had enough money, I'll add, before we officially make the recommendation and hopefully get a motion in a second. I had already talked to Mrs. Townsend. We do have enough money to cover this in the 2018 budget under capital projects, so
Okay.
that's not an issue.
Okay. What's the board's pleasure?
I have a question though.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
So that high school sign and the middle school sign were done about the same time, correct?
Middle school's a
No,
couple years.
middle school sign was way later,
It's probably
Way later?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. like
It's
4 or
probably
5
been
years.
in maybe half the time.
Dan-
You have
Dancy-
a problem
That
with
was
it?
2008, I think was it 14?
It's some of
14
the
or
things that he talked about as far as not being as convenient as being able to do it and it not being Mac-based, those things are
Yeah.
existing, but I think we're in tons better shape than the current system they have.
A little history on that, one of the things that Dennis and I ran into those guys, we just thought it'd be a good idea to have a sign. And this is we went with these people, not because we knew anything about them, but, and then I always wanted the middle school, because it's always gonna have one side of the corporation. That's probably at least one of the busiest streets in all of Grant
That's
County.
visible, yeah, we
But
don't
after
have
the-
the visibility.
But after the time was always, after the temp was always wrong, I was glad it wasn't, because every day I got stopped, and, hey, you know what, this, you realize it's only 68 degrees out there today? So, yeah,
I thought that was your idea.
yeah, it was Dennis, and I said, "Oh, Dennis."
Look at it now, Steve
I
can
know,
hook
Ted,
us
you
into the
got
Weather
another
Channel.
channel.
Show it. Let him call the Weather Channel.
Yeah, Jim Mitchell, that's his favorite thing, he brings pictures in, so.
All right, what's the board's pleasure?
Does you want to make a recommendation?
Yeah, our recommendation would be that you approve Mr. Quadaher's recommendation this evening on the marquee sign at the high school.
Mr. President,
Mr. Smith,
I'll make a motion to approve the marquee sign as presented.
have a motion by Mr. Smith, do I have a second? Second by Mr. Gaskin. Any additional comments or discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Steve. Item 250, Secretaries, Office Assistants, Aid Pay Guide. Mr. McKenzie.
In your board packet for this evening was a recommendation and the pay guide and index that exists for secretaries and our paras and all our office personnel, and we would recommend approval as presented.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McKenzie. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Cunningham.
I make a motion to approve the pay schedule as presented for secretaries, office assistants, aides, based on the current pay guide.
Motion by Mr. Cunningham. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
Second by Mrs. Miller. Any comments or discussion regarding the pay guide? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 251, Personnel. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, we have two items under personnel for the board's consideration this evening. First of all, Carol Wakeman has requested a leave of absence beginning on January 7th of 2019 until March 21st of 2019. And we would recommend Brett Hendy to be hired as a custodian at RJ Basket Middle School effective November 19th. And we would recommend approval of these personnel items as presented this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gaskin.
I make a motion to accept the superintendent's recommendation on personnel as presented.
Have a motion by Mr. Gaskin. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Crouch. Any comments or discussion regarding the personnel item?
I had a question. It says
Sure.
that she's going to complete her student teaching experience. Will that be here?
She works in her building. She's shaking her head yes, so I'd say yes.
Teaching as a third grade teacher.
Okay, so is she on a temporary contract or?
No.
Oh, she's a para.
gotta- Yeah, she's a
I'm with
para.
you.
She's gotta
I caught
take
up.
time off to do her student
I
teaching, so that's
understand.
gonna
Thank
take
you.
full time.
She's actually kind of in between para and teacher
Yeah.
status
The way she,
contractually.
the way she
Yeah.
presented her thing was it said alternative teach education, so
Yeah.
it wasn't sure of the teaching position.
Oh,
That's what it says, alternative education teacher position, so that sounded like she was a teacher to us, so.
okay.
Okay, that's why she was at.
Well, she has received an emergency license as a teacher, so she
Okay, so she's happy.
is
Think
on a
she has the job.
temporary status, but she's not under a regular teacher contract.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or comments? All right, have a motion by Mr. Gaskin, a second by Mr. Crouch. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Line item 252, Facilities Report. Mr. McKenzie.
Unless he's changed his mind since earlier today, we don't have anything new to share with the board under facilities as it relates to the last time we met. So if there's anything, any questions you have relative to facilities, any of us, and all of us, will try to
Okay.
answer your question.
Any board member have a question on facilities?
I have
Go
one,
ahead.
Steve.
Go ahead.
When can we expect this sign to, when can we expect
No,
this
I
sign to
don't
be?
know, I think it's probably a 4-week lead time on the sign. I'll call Gary in the morning and let him know we're gonna move forward, so hopefully by, January, I hope.
So they can do it winter time also, huh?
Just a setting and all this,
Mr. President,
Mis-
I also had a question about the bleachers at the high school. I noticed there's like busted bleachers, like the pull-out bleachers that we have on each end. There's,
Lower?
yeah, lower bleachers that are on each end of the gym that they're either busted or, yeah, yes. So I noticed there's probably two or three on the east end and one or two on the, west end of the gym. So I don't know if that's baseballs or softballs or people kicking or whatever, but first time I've seen them, that's why I was wondering.
Oh, they've been there every year for years.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay,
And they're very expensive to replace.
okay,
Yeah, it happens every year.
okay. So if we could just worry about somebody stepping or tripping on that busted part, so.
Okay. Any other questions?
We'll get on that.
Thanks.
Any other questions regarding facilities? All right, move on. 253, legislative update. Mr. Cunningham.
Yes, thank you, sir. Couple things I noticed. The 2019 legislative website is up for the General Assembly. So you can now see calendars, what's projected. Although the Republican caucus and the Democrat caucus has not met yet, they've already proposed a couple of things on the Democratic side. Democrat side, I've noticed that one of the things that they're highlighting is teacher pay and wanting to address that over the next 2 years in the biennium, and they're looking anywhere from 2.5% to 3%, but they want to make sure that that goes directly to teacher pay. And then they have a couple other legislative items that aren't directed toward education. And then the only thing I've seen on the Republican side, and they haven't caucused yet, for legislative priority is hate crimes. So that's one thing that they're talking about, wanting to address legislatively, so hoping for some more info on that. The other thing is that we all should have received a survey from the ISBA, and so I would encourage you all to fill that out. I know some of the things that I selected, was a united effort around educational funding. So, I mean, whatever your heart tells you to put down there, but do fill that survey out because the ISBA uses that to develop their legislative agenda,
Lobby.
so.
Yep.
And that's all I have, sir.
All right. Any questions for Chris?
I don't have any questions, but I'll just make my comment for what it's worth. If you're going to ensure that, and I'm not saying that it's even political reality that teachers are gonna get a 2.5%, 3% increase across the state. But if you intended to do that and just play along with me that happens, you would have to change the funding formula to make that happen. Because a school district that loses 50 to 100 kids in a school year and a school district that doesn't lose any kids in a school year or gains kids in a school year,
Calculation different.
they are not funded the same. And so the school district losing students will not be in a position that they can increase teacher pay by 2.5%, 3%. Where the school district that's gaining students, or at least maintaining, will be able to not only give 2.5%, 3%, they might be able to give 5%. But, so,
Yeah, they were estimating to have somewhere around 170 million that they thought it was gonna cost them to be able to do that.
yeah, but I'm saying the money has to.
Still follows the students, yeah.
Yeah, right now, the formula follows the students.
Yeah,
And
unless
so
they make the legislation.
they're gonna have to change
To
how they
override.
fund that.
Yeah, you're
particular
right, yeah, they do.
situation.
And they didn't say, they didn't
To ensure that
explain.
everybody gets that.
Yeah, and they didn't explain how that was gonna happen or how that was gonna lay out. That was just their broad-based goal.
And let's
so-
hope that they think that through before.
Yeah, I
they-
hope so.
Maybe
Well,
we
I'm
can-
sure people like you and Jill will be telling them.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
gonna
I'm
do
sure
it,
they'll
you
be
know.
asking us too.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be time to bring them guys in again and ask, voice your concern. They talk a lot, you get a lot more out of them when they're by themselves instead of the crowd, because they don't play to, you know what I'm saying? But since, I think sometimes they listen a little better when it's just a few people. And
Yeah, our difficulty in doing that we'd have to do it quickly, is that,
They're getting ready to go, yeah.
and once they're down there, they have very little time to come locally and speak and talk to people. I guess the other thing is to go down there and talk to them when they're there and ask for a time to meet with
You
them.
drive,
there
I
at
was
the
with you.
station. Well, you want me giving directions?
No, come think of it.
Better take Jill so you can get lunch.
Yeah, that's right. So we can.
At least buy you lunch.
Yeah. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you, Chris, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Line item 254, donations, Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, we have the following donations for your consideration this evening. To begin with, we have an anonymous donor who donated to our school lunch program in the amount of $5,000. Mid-America Gymnastics Incorporated donated $900 to the girls' basketball program. And the high school, I didn't even know we had a high school choir alumni, but we do. And they donated $200 to the choir. Hometown Animal Hospital donated $100 to our after-prom for this school year. And Needham Story Waltner donated $25 to our after-prom program this year. And Edward Jones donated $25 to the after-prom program for this year. So we would recommend approval of these donations as presented this evening.
Thank you, Mr. McKenzie. What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Freitas.
I move that we gratefully accept these donations as presented.
Have a motion by Mrs. Freitas. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Mr. Smith. Any comments or discussion regarding donations?
I'll just add that the anonymous donation, I don't want to give it away because that person doesn't necessarily want that, is a Mississinewa graduate of the 1970s, and I know Mr. Banks would definitely know this family, but doesn't live around here, and just called up the school lunch program director, Mrs. Warwick, and talked to her about it, and indicated he wanted to help some families that are struggling paying their bills in the school lunch program.
So that's what you're kind of earmarking it that way then?
Just somebody, yes, somebody, just an alumni wanting to give back a little bit.
That's great.
We appreciate that.
Yep, you bet. That's great. Okay, let's see. Where were we? Had a motion by Mrs. Freitas and a second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 255, claims against corporation, Ms. Townsend.
Thank you. I'm asking the board tonight to pay claims totaling $1,279,849.64, please.
What's the board's pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Crouch.
I move that we accept the claims as presented, please.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Crouch and a second by Mr. Gaskin. Any comments or discussion regarding claims? Not hearing any. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 256, correspondence and other business. Mr. McKenzie.
Yes, just a reminder that we have an executive session scheduled immediately following this meeting. Our next school board meeting is December 3rd, and our final board meeting of the school year is December 17th. That is the evening that we're having the board Christmas dinner at 5:45 here. So we will try our best not to have any public work sessions or executive sessions on December 17th. That'll be a major objective. And if I fail in that, you really should stick it to me in my evaluation.
Said that was
So
at
put that on your
5:30.
calendar.
Dinner at
December
5:30.
17th, 5:45.
5:45.
It's in the back, yeah.
I'll be here. All right, anybody on the board have any other business or any correspondence they want to discuss?
I would like, Chancey, give us an update on Mr. Butchie, correct?
Yeah, this past weekend, he ran in the Indian All-Stars. You have to qualify to become an Indiana All-Star by being a senior. We finished in the top 10, or excuse me, top 20 in the state heat. They ran in Kettering, Ohio against the top runners, senior runners from Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Illinois. And he placed first place out of all of those runners. So an unbelievable for him. He is running, this weekend, in a individual event, in Wisconsin. So he would have an opportunity to qualify for a national event, depending on how he does. So excited to see how he continues to run. Again, just represents our community and our school so well everywhere he goes. The coaches of the Indiana All-Stars are just so complimentary of him, his work ethic, his attitude, commitment. So just excited for him as he finishes up his career.
When is cross-country commitment for the next level? Has he already done that? I know he's looked.
Yeah, he hasn't. I think he'll have some options depending on what he wants to do. Track and cross country are tough. Not a ton of money out there for
Sure.
him.
Yep.
I think he's looking at what's going to fit him and his family best.
Yep. Good. Give him our congratulations.
Absolutely.
And I'd like to comment on the veterans program.
Yeah, sure.
You guys did a great job, every year it gets a little better, and the flag was a nice catch. If you didn't get a chance to see that, we're gonna do it at the games too? Okay, so you get a chance to see it, it's really nice, and, the only thing I probably heard was because it was on a Friday, some guys, there was other things going on there, but, then we had the young kid that did the bugle for the 18 veterans up there, and, then our CPA, the Civil Air Patrol, our kids, I thought, just did a great job. I mean, they were out there in front of a lot of different people. There was a big crowd there on Saturday for that, dedication
Great
of the monument
dedication
there,
of,
so, and they did nothing but, excel in front of the general public. So a nice job for all those people involved, so Mrs. Hornbaker and Mrs. Mick, all of them there. What's the boy's name that did the bugle?
Andrew Hensley,
Okay,
or Alexander Hensley.
okay. So thanks a lot, very good, a lot of hard work, I know.
You bet.
The bus drivers getting them down there and getting them back, and if you've never been to the grade school one, he just comes out, it's almost like Moses, he sticks his hands out and just quiets down, and that's a long time for kids to set that young. So
yeah.
They're a great job, and they're really receptive to it, and the veterans really enjoy it, so great job.
Kudos to our band and choir.
Yes.
And Mr. Q and his office staff and administrative team hosting that. If there's a better program, I'd like to see it, because I think we do a great job
Seems like it gets better
recognizing
every
and
year.
If I-
commemorating and respecting our veterans. And it's a great experience for our kids
Oh, yeah.
to be a part of that and engage with that. And we're all constantly trying to think of ways to engage our students in that program, and it has grown in that way as well. Also, I want to end my comments by recognizing our three principals that presented during the public work session. I thought they did a great job of talking about their different levels of teachers and students, and represented their schools and their level in excellent fashion. Very knowledgeable, very well versed in the data and in their given circumstances, and I know Mrs. Winter and I appreciate so much them contributing to that discussion this evening. So.
If I might add one more thing.
Sure.
There's a reading that's from President Reagan, and I don't have it with me, but it's a concept that I've seen a long time ago, and when I was a young kid, and the kids used to come, the VFW and Legion come to the thing they put on the program themselves then, and they would talk about it, but they were old guys, seriously, but if you think about it, Susan, it's her nephew, and my nephew, we have Dustin Patton, he was playing football last year, this time, and now he's in the U.S. Army, and he's gonna go to Ranger School, and we got, there's Dalton Brown, there's several of them in there, that's Tice Nicholson. So but when they went, they were young guys, they weren't old gray-haired George Washington looking people like me and everything else. And sometimes the kids see them, I think they forget that these kids were boys, when they
That's
went,
right.
they left families behind, and I'm gonna bring that into you and let you, because it's a good piece, because basically what it says, it's the life they lived and the life they didn't live, because some of them people never come home, they didn't have grandkids, anything like that, and so we are the memory keepers. If you had somebody in the family, you're the ones responsible for that. Take care, make sure that you say, the empty chair, those kind of things, those families, and so, that's all I got, I just
It
want
was
to
a
say
really
that.
nice
Very good,
text.
Spike.
Yes.
Thank you, appreciate that. Anybody else have anything? All righty, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Gaskin. Do I have a second by Mrs. Freitas? Oh, Mrs. Miller, okay, I'm sorry. Both sound the same. Sorry. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.